what are the rules to be followed on site while you are positioning your electrical accessories, that is the conduit boxes, electrical accessories such as your distribution board, the outlet for your gear switch, and so on in an installation. So that is why I want to expose all these details. What are some factors to be considered while you are laying out these particular accessories and outlets in your installation? Number one, our switch. Anytime we want to place our switch in a site, make sure you do not position your switch behind the door. This is very necessary. You can even notice it in some of the buildings that have been built for a very long time, where most of these mistakes were made, that you have to open the door, you enter, turn to the back of the door before you can turn on your light. So this is a wrong practice. Do not position your knockout box at a spot where it will fall behind the door. If you do not know, it depends. It depends. So that's why you need to go through the architectural details of the building before you start positioning your accessories, your conduit boxes, so that you are not going to commit a blunder while you are placing your boxes. Box should not fall behind the door. Your switch should not be too close to the door. Rather, your switch distance from the door frame should not be less than 0.15 meters, 15 centimeters, 15 centimeters. So if you look at it here now, let's say this is the box you are seeing here. So the distance between this box and the door should not be less than 15 centimeters. So it shouldn't be less than 15 centimeters. So the distance you are to keep from the frame of the door when you are positioning your switch should not be less than 15 centimeters, which is 0.15 meters. So it is very necessary. Another thing that is also very important in placing your boxes during an installation is that your socket should not be placed too close to the floor. Anytime it gets flooded, the floor gets flooded easily, water can rush into your socket. So your socket should be positioned slightly above the finished floor. And according to the standard, your socket should not be lower than 0.3 meters, should not be lower than 0.3 meters, and it should not be higher than 0.5 meters. So that is when you see most of the drawings, some say 0.5, some say 0.45, some say 0.3. So, but it should not be higher than 0.5 meters. So when you get your electrical drawing, the design of the engineer that is there, make sure you follow these details, teeth to teeth, bumper to bumper, and this will allow you to have a successful installation. So don't forget again, the height of your socket from the floor should not be higher than 0.5 meters, and socket should not be placed so close to the floor, like a 0.1, 0.02, 0.03 meters above the floor. That is so low. So a socket should be not above 0.5 meters, but it can be 0.45, 0.4, and 0.3 meters, respectively. Say another thing that is also very crucial is the socket for our television. You know, when you intend to use smart TV that you are going to install on your wall, the socket for this type of TV should not be lower than 1.2 meters. So it should be above the floor 1.2 meters, and maximum is 1.3 meters, since that socket is going to be hidden behind the TV. So if you make it lower than that, it is possible after installing the television, you'll still be seeing the socket below the television. So that is why the standard says it should not be lower than 1.2 meters. Another thing that is very important is also positioning a socket beside your bed. You know, usually beside our bed, there is usually a drawer. So you can make a socket. And because of the drawer, we may want to put a socket around that area, probably for our bed lamp, bedside lamp, and so on. So in that case, you can increase the height of your socket to about 0.7 meters, slightly above the height of the wall socket, which I mentioned earlier. So 0.7 meters. And anytime we want to position our sockets around the bed, if they are using a customized type of bed, you know, there are some bed that are customized, that they are aesthetic bed, most very, very expensive bed. They usually come with their switches and so on. So position your switch at one point, your switch and the socket that is meant for the bed area, position it around 1.2 meters. And anytime after installing the bed, easily you can make an extension to connect to the bed. If the bed comes with its own set of socket that are readily fixed, is part of the accessory of the bed. There are some beds like that. So, but anytime you are making the socket beside the bed, that is very close to the bedside drawer, so make your sockets to be at 0.7 meters, 0.7 meters. And do not position a socket in the bathroom. It is not good. It is not safe to position the socket in the bathroom. And do not position, and before I go away from this, most people used to contest this. If it becomes so necessary that socket is going to be positioned in the bathroom, make sure it is a kind of socket specially made to resist water with special insulation, special insulating properties that will make the user very safe. But ordinarily, in an ideal situation, it is not safe to position your socket in the bathroom. You cannot come out of the bathroom, or while you are in the bathroom, you are in your jacuzzi, you now operate the socket with a wet hand. What if there is an insulation breakdown? So it is never a good practice to position your socket in the bathroom. Likewise, switch of the lighting points in the bathroom should also be positioned outside, prior to the entrance, outside, not inside. Place it outside, because the slogan in engineering is what? Safety first. So that safety is very important. If you have money, don't let money get you intoxicated to the extent of pushing the electricians to compromise the standard. Help me put one socket in my bedroom so that while I'm in my jacuzzi, I want to shave. It's like an invitation to untimely death. So do not plant a timed bomb for yourself. Do not position your socket in the bathroom. Rather, position it outside. It could even be in a dressing room. So you can shave and do all other things. There could be a room prior adjourned to the bathroom, so where you can easily do this when your hands are not wet. Likewise, your distribution board in an installation, make sure it is positioned at the center of the load. Distribution board positioned at the center of the load. Look for a point in your in the building where which serve as the center, so that all the outlets will have equal distance from the distribution board, and it is going to reduce the cable consumption. So till I come your way next time, I'm your one and only engineer Oxford. I will see you in my next video. Peace.